Hey y'all, welcome back. If you don't know me, I'm TK, and this channel is all about doing some makeup, doing a little bit of food, and having a lot of fun. So if that sounds like a good time to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video. Thank you. How is everyone today? I know we're already at the final look. And that's because the palette that we're going to talk about today, I used it for a different video and I'm already there. But today I want to do a swatch party, which I don't usually do. And we're going to swatch this palette and I want to talk about value versus price. And so if that sounds interesting to you, then stick around. We'll be right back. You ever find yourself just a little too broke to afford that brand new launch? Me too. I might get it in a couple of weeks, but not today. You know, that don't mean that you're too broke to get a little something new for yourself. But what and where? And is it even going to be any good? Well, that's what we're here to find out. This is Broke Ass Reviews. Okay, value versus price. One of the things that I always look for when I'm buying makeup is not just what is the price of it, because we all know that you can go to the dollar store and pick up a $1 palette. What I want to know is what is the value of it, because even if I go and get a $1 palette, if it's absolute trash, I still don't want it. I still don't feel like it's worth it. That's why for me, Broke Ass Reviews fluctuates between, yes, the literal bottom dollar, dollar store palette from, I don't know, something I've never heard of, to up through, your LA Colors, your LA Girl. And then I think that for me, the top brand on that scale is probably going to be like e.l.f. or Wet n Wild. And today we are going to talk about a Wet n Wild palette. This is the SpongeBob Nautical Nonsense. It's a Nautical Nonsense palette, so there it is. That's pretty much a good representation of what's in the palette. It was $15 online with Ulta. And I also picked up, because I wanted like some free shipping or whatever, I also picked up the same SpongeBob Wet n Wild. This is the highlighter. Let's talk about this palette. As you can see, this is what I'm wearing today. So everything on my eyes today came from this palette. Let me show you what I used. So we started with this brown. We used this peach. That's what's just above it. Underneath my eyebrow is this little, it's kind of one of those weird colors that's like get the stone, kind of like the stone vibes stuff. And then in that corner is this topped with that. This is a very cute pinky duochrome, but it's a bit more glittery than I would care for, and I really wanted to bring out a peach color, so I put this orange over top of it, and I think it did very nicely. And then in the corner we have this blue topped with this silver. That silver's got a blue reflect in it. I thought the palette worked great. I think if you were to find a palette that had these same colors in it by NYX, BH Cosmetics, even e.l.f., I think you're going to be looking more upwards of $25. So how Wet n Wild did this for $15 is amazing. You've got duochromes, you've got metallic shades, you've got eye safe glitters. Basically what you've got is an eye safe glitter and some nice mattes in there that are great transition shades. There's one matte here that has just a slight amount of a shimmer in it. I'm anxious to kind of try to use it because it's this plummy kind of one right there that's got just like a tiny bit of shimmer in it. And I think what it's called is it's called Gare Bear, after Gary the snail. I mean, it's lovely that these are all, this is a whole collab with SpongeBob, so the nostalgia's there as well. But then they put these amazing shades in it. They didn't just like phone it in with some yellows, okay? And then, like here you go. This is a great collab, and it's a fantastic blend of appropriate colors, because the color story here looks like the cartoon. And also then different finishes. These two shades down here are eye safe, and they're very much like a glitter, but they go on a lot better. So they're one step above like this, which is a metallic shade, but they are not pressed glitters. I'm very impressed. To find those type of shades, now you're looking at having to go to Huda Urban Decay, possibly Pat McGrath, to get something in that quality and that type of finish. So yes, this palette is $15, but the value of it is absolutely there just because Wet n Wild, however they do it, they are able to really put the quality into their eyeshadows. So let's go ahead and we'll start swatching. I'm going to start up here with this. We're going to go across and across and across. So that first shade you'll never see on my skin because I am pale AF. So let's go down the next one. I can't believe how nice these metallics are. They're smooth, they're buttery. Honestly, I haven't seen metallics like this outside of very, very expensive palettes like Kaleidos or even like Pat McGrath. I definitely want to check one of these colors against a Pat McGrath color. We're gonna do it because I feel like it could actually be. So I'm not having any patchiness, I'm not having any fallout. And here's the color that is ever so slightly metallic. So pretty. It is not a shimmer. Like, it's not a shimmer. It's so beautiful, but so odd that there's just this much shimmer in it. My niece was kind of like, I wish they'd have done a dark blue. But I feel like this is a dark blue, but the thing is, okay, there you go. So there are all of the shades swatched. And honestly, they are incredibly beautiful. Again, those other two, they're not a pressed glitter. They're much more finer than that. They're almost like an eye safe glitter, but you know, nothing ever swatches perfectly. So there everything is. And I think to find this shade range in this quality, you're looking at a $35 to $40 palette. So that's where I'm talking about, you know, we're not talking about a $4 palette here. We're talking about a $15 palette that probably should actually be priced at $40. So you're getting an incredible value with this one. So I can absolutely recommend it under the Brogas Review flag. So what I'm going to try here, there's a blue in here that's very, very similar to a Pat McGrath blue that I have. And I want to swatch them side by side and see what they look like. Because the reason that I even bought this Pat McGrath was because I saw that blue and I was like, I cannot do without it. So this is my Pat McGrath Mothership. I can never remember whether it's 1 or 2, I forget which ones I actually have. So you can see it's that blue right there versus that blue right there. We're going to find out right now the real value of this, okay? You know, I see some other, it's odd, I see some other colors in here that are very similar to this Pat McGrath palette as well. So they are not exactly the same shade of blue. But look at them. Look at that. Incredible. Let me check one more. There's a gold in SpongeBob. Okay, we're gonna look at that here. And there's a gold in the Pat McGrath palette that I just pulled. I feel like SpongeBob is coming for Pat McGrath. I don't know. That might be. Look at that. Let me see if I can get, there we go. Do you see that? Incredible, incredible shimmer, reflectivity, butteriness. Okay, am I saying that Pat McGrath is produced by Wet n Wild? No, I'm not saying that at all. Pat McGrath really was sort of the first of the duochromes. People bought her palettes just to get them. But what I'm trying to show here by example and by comparing the two is that this palette has a quality that is far and above its price. I would venture to say this palette's actually better than most Wet n Wild palettes. It looks like Wet n Wild has really stepped up their game. And even if they only stepped it up for this collab, it means that as they go forward doing more collabs, the quality is going to be there. They're going to have the improved quality and the collabs are going to be worth it. At $15, I mean, I have another SpongeBob palette. It was a SpongeBob collab that was done by Hip Dot. Here it is, this one, right? So this was a collab that was done between Hip Dot and SpongeBob. And this palette is $36, and I'm fairly certain that when I bought it, I paid over $40 for it. So let's test it out against the Wet n Wild SpongeBob. Let's see what we can find here. We're gonna have to find some similar shades. Let's test out the rock. Okay, so I'm going with Rock Bottom here, down here. This is a shimmer shade, all right? Rock Bottom. And then I'm going with that kind of extra ultra glitter shade from Wet n Wild. Look at that. Look at how beautiful they are together. Incredible quality. I can find another shade that's not the same. It's the same type of shimmer that's in the Hip Dot, but not the same shade, so that you can compare that quality. Look at that. The quality for this palette is really, really there. The decision sometimes isn't always to just let me go prowl around at the Family Dollar and see what I can find. Sometimes the decision, when you only have a little bit of money to make a choice on what am I going to buy today or this week or until I get paid again or whatever, sometimes it's like, well, where's my best value? And I'll tell you, I've seen some collabs lately from very expensive brands that look like they absolutely freaking phoned it in. And I've seen some palettes come out, very expensive ones, where the reviews are trash. They're like, oh, it looks great in the pan, but it doesn't really perform. So when it comes to eyeshadow, it has to perform. It has to have staying power. Yes, I know that some of that is due to primer, but when you use the same primer all the time and different palettes don't, have staying power and don't have staying power, then you know whether the quality is good or not. And then it has to be vibrant. There has to be some kind of color payoff, or it has to be buildable. When an eyeshadow is patchy and chalky, you don't want to pay $50 for a palette full of that. So as you're shopping, make sure that you're looking for not only price, but also for value. And that's the difference, is how do these shadows actually perform versus their price. So I hope you had fun looking at this palette today and looking at some of the other palettes we did. I hope that wherever you are, you're having a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, or a great night. Hope you have fun hanging out. And as always, I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're taking care of each other. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.
Louis dripping, bleeding out my sneaks. Throw my crown at your face in case you forgot I was king. I hope it leaves a mark if you forget where you're destined to be. Higher than wings flying outside of Caesarea.